So a lot of people are asking about the truck and how did I come to this decision on the truck. So the back story is we travel around in the truck camper and I wanted a big truck camper. So we bought this Arctic Fox 990 and I didn't know exactly what camper I was going to buy initially, but I knew I was going to go pretty large. And everything I heard about the Arctic Fox was going to be pretty heavy and underestimated on their weight, which it is. So I went with a dually, and I went with the Ford F350. And I wanted the extra wide stance. I wanted the better stability. I wanted the wider track. I wanted the extra set of tires on the rear for safety. All those things came into play when I was making my decision. I went with a gas engine. I did a lot of research on both gas and diesel, and you'll see a lot of videos on that. It's up to you what you want, but what I can tell you is if you decide to go with a diesel engine, you are going to lose some payload, and that is important when you're hauling a heavy camper in the back of your truck. I'm not pulling a long trailer at 16,000 pounds in weight. I needed the payload capacity in the bed of the truck. So the gas engine gave me a lighter engine, gave me 900 more pounds payload. This Ford F350 dually is rated at 14,000 pound total weight. That's going to be your truck and anything that's in the bed, including the passengers, including your fuel, including all the items that you're going to have in your camper and in your truck. We're probably pushing that 14,000 pound limit. So that was why I went with a gas. One, I knew it was going to be cheaper and easier to find gas. I knew maintenance cost was going to be less. I knew it was going to cost me about $10,000 less money up front versus a diesel. And I knew longevity. I've never kept anything for 500,000 miles. So I wasn't worried about wearing out an engine. So that was my decision. Again, it's all based on yours. I can tell you this truck has taken this camper to the top of Pikes Peak, 14,000 feet, and it did it fine. The gear system in this Ford F350 is a 10-gear transmission. When you're driving and you're in the tow haul mode, you have an engine braking type system when you're coming downhill, and it works great. In a super steep situation like Pikes Peak, you can override and go in manual, and at that point I was shifting manually down in the gears. But I climbed that mountain, no problem. It's the highest mountain that you can drive up, a single mountain, and I came down it with no problem. So if it can do that, it can do anything. I'm not worried about taking it to Alaska and wishing I had a dually, wishing I had a diesel. So those were my decisions that I made. Now, some people will say, what kind of upgrades did you do to the truck? Well, it came with it's set up like you see here. The tires and rims were on it. It did have the stabilizer bar in the very rear over the back differential, which was a nice added feature. It was in the tow package that came with the truck. I did add, if you can get in here, I did add these bump stops that you can see right here. Right now, you got two on each set of springs in the back for the overload springs, one forward and one aft. And when the camper is in the bed of the truck, the weight of the camper now sets down the bed onto these overload springs. The nice thing about that is it takes out some of the sway back and forth, some of that rocking, and it also gives me a softer ride because those overload springs are engaged when I got a heavy load on it. The only thing I added then, I wanted to go airbags, but at the time I couldn't find the airbags about a year and a half ago. So I went with the Timbren enhancement system. Basically, it's an oblong ball that fits over top of the frame and the rear axle. And there's two of those. So again, when the weight of the camper is sitting down on top of the bed of the truck, that compresses down onto the over top of the axle. That rubber ball acts as a suspension mod for that. The nice thing about both the suspension mods that I did, the overload spring bump stops and that Timbren enhancement ball system, When I'm off the camper, when the camper's off the truck like it is now, I'm back to a stock ride, unlike an airbag that's always engaged. When I put the camper in, bump stops automatically engage. The timbering just barely touches if there's not maybe a eighth of an inch or quarter inch of clearance at times, depending on how much wet I got. But when I hit a heavier bump, or I'm fully loaded with water and propane and all the extra added things that you may haul, that timbering is now lightly engaged. So it makes for a great ride. Suspension on this thing, the way I've got it set up, I wouldn't change a thing. What it did do, it saved me quite a bit of money going that timbering system and the overload bump stops versus airbags, and I don't have to worry about a mechanical failure. So that was why I went with this truck. That was what I did aftermarket, and I'm extremely happy with the setup, and I wouldn't change a thing. And we're able to get in backcountry areas like this and ride off road and not have any issues whatsoever. And on the highway, going up and down mountains, the system works very, very well. So if you're thinking about a truck camper, I highly recommend going a bigger truck than you think you may need. Most people have more camper than they have truck, and that can be dangerous on the road. If you're not sure, every truck's going to be a little bit different. A long bed is going to have a different weight capacity than a short bed. Also, the cab size is going to change the weights that you can haul and you can tow. If you're not sure what your truck particularly can haul or carry, open up the driver's side door, and inside of that driver door will be a manufacturer stamp of what weights you can haul, tow, and your total gross weight that you can carry, truck and camper included. When in doubt, look at that. But if you're going to go truck camping, get yourself a big rig and you'll be happy, you'll be safe, and you'll be much better going up and down the road. And that's all I got for you this time. Hope that answers a few questions. We'll see you next time.